Amanda had barely arrived in England when trouble hit. The country road leading to the cottage was too narrow for the taxi to get through. So she had to drag her suitcase and walk the rest of the way alone. Once she got there, she planned to have a drink, play some music, and finally relax. But when things actually got quiet, she couldn't sit still. She had gotten so used to filling her life with work and constant information. She came to England after a painful breakup. Her ex-boyfriend had cheated on her. He even told her she was like a machine that didn't know how to love. Amanda was starting to realize he might have been right. She couldn't even cry anymore. That's why she chose this remote cottage. She wanted to escape work for a while. And she wanted to find the part of herself that could still cry. Meanwhile, Iris arrived at Amanda's mansion in Los Angeles. The huge living room, swimming pool, and private theater made her feel like a kid again. But her own love life was far from perfect. She had secretly loved her co-worker, Miles, for 3 years. Even after Miles got a girlfriend, he still kept asking Iris out. Iris stayed by his side, but he never gave her a real answer. Then, at the company's Christmas party, everything changed. Miles announced in front of everyone that he was engaged to another woman. Iris finally realized she had only ever been his backup plan. So when she saw the chance to swap homes for a vacation, she said yes immediately. Amanda went to England. Iris moved into the Los Angeles mansion. 2 complete strangers had just swapped lives. And that's where everything began to change. Late that night, Amanda was suddenly woken by a knock at the door. A man named Graham was standing outside. He was Iris's brother. He had been drinking at a bar and couldn't drive, so he came to stay at his sister's house for the night. The two had barely met when an accidental kiss happened. That kiss made Amanda feel something she hadn't felt in years. Soon, the two of them slept together. The next morning, they agreed to forget it ever happened. But before long, they started dating anyway. Amanda was so nervous, it felt like a job interview. Graham slowly taught her what a real date was supposed to feel like. They talked about their past relationships. Amanda realized almost every relationship she'd had ended badly. Graham was completely different. He was extremely emotional. He cried during movies. He cried while listening to music. He even cried when he read a good book. A woman who couldn't cry. A man who cried at everything. Somehow, they turned out to be a perfect match. Meanwhile, Iris met an old man who had gotten lost. She took him home. Only then did she realize he lived right next door to Amanda. He used to be a Hollywood screenwriter. He had written many classic movies. His wife had passed away years ago. Now he lived alone. His house was filled with awards and old photos. But it still felt painfully empty. Iris invited him to dinner. After quietly listening to her story, he realized something. Iris had always treated herself like a side character in love. She spent her life revolving around her ex. But she had never put herself first. His words changed something in her. To celebrate her new life, Iris threw a party. Miles was invited too. He was a film composer. And just like Iris, he was stuck in a terrible relationship. He loved his actress girlfriend deeply. But she kept cheating on him. And he kept forgiving her. So Iris and Miles quickly became friends. The next day, they went to a music store together. They talked about movies and music. Miles kept imitating famous movie scores and made Iris laugh non-stop. But then he spotted his girlfriend getting close with another man. He had been betrayed again. Iris looked at him and saw her old self. When they got home, they comforted each other. For once, neither of them had to face heartbreak alone. Meanwhile, Amanda started noticing something strange about Graham. Different women kept calling him. Her doubts kept growing. Finally, she drove to Graham's house. But she never expected the women on the phone weren't his girlfriends. They were his 2 daughters. Graham was a single dad. Besides working, he also had to take care of his kids. Amanda saw a completely different side of him. A gentle and loving father. The 2 girls quickly fell in love with her too. They pulled Amanda into a pink tent to play with them. Inside that tiny little space, Amanda felt something she hadn't felt in a long time. She felt like she was home. Meanwhile, the old man's legs were getting weaker. And the Hollywood Writers Guild was preparing a tribute dinner for him. Iris decided to help him get back on stage. From then on, she practiced walking with him every day. As she helped him, she slowly realized something. She didn't need a man to prove her worth. She finally started taking control of her own life. At the same time, Iris and Miles grew closer. But Miles's ex-girlfriend showed up again. She wanted him back. Miles still decided to meet with her. Then Iris returned home to find her own ex waiting for her. He had actually followed her all the way from London. Standing face to face with the man she'd loved for 3 years, Iris remembered everything. But this time, she refused to be the woman he could call whenever he wanted. She finally saw the truth. Her ex didn't miss her. He was just used to having her around. So Iris ended the relationship herself. Meanwhile, the home swap was coming to an end. Amanda and Graham faced the same problem. One lived in Los Angeles. The other lived in London. One was used to living alone. The other had 2 daughters to take care of. Their lives seemed impossible to combine. But they had already fallen in love. Eventually, Amanda still left England. She sat in a taxi heading to the airport. As she watched the snowy landscape disappear outside the window, something suddenly changed. Her eyes began to fill with tears. The woman who hadn't cried since she was 15 finally started crying. Only then did she realize she hadn't lost the ability to love. She had simply gone too long without truly feeling loved. And Graham and his 2 daughters had already become part of her life. As the taxi got closer to the airport, Amanda suddenly told the driver to stop. She couldn't leave like this. She jumped out of the taxi. Then she ran back down the country road in her high heels. The same road that had made her miserable on the first day was now the road leading her back to love. Amanda returned to Graham. And she decided to stay. Meanwhile, Iris had finally closed the door on her past. She rushed to the old man's tribute dinner. In front of everyone, he put down his cane. Then he walked onto the stage on his own. Step by step. Just then, Miles arrived. He had finally ended things with his ex for good. Then he asked Iris to start something new with him. He wanted to spend New Year's in England with her. Iris said yes. On New Year's Eve, Iris brought Miles back to the cottage in England. Amanda and Graham were already there. Graham's 2 daughters were home too. 4 adults and 2 kids were finally under the same roof. 2 women who had never known each other had swapped homes for a vacation. And somehow, they both found the people who were right for them. Amanda learned how to cry again. Iris finally stopped being the side character in her own love story. Miles finally ended the relationship that kept hurting him. And Graham found someone willing to become part of his life and his children's lives. They had only wanted to escape their failed relationships. But they never expected this short trip to change everything. It helped them find love again. And it helped them find new versions of themselves. As the New Year's bells rang, the 4 adults and 2 children welcomed the new year together. And this unexpected home swap vacation finally had the perfect ending.